Good evening, everyone. My name's Matthew. I'm going to be giving you your demonstration this evening. First things first, marketing have asked me to go through a bit of a PowerPoint. There's only a few tabs. Okay, there's 4 of them. All right, so it's not going to take up too much of our time. So if I just start saying that you can see my screen. First things first, who said only architects can draw plans? So that's slide number 1, slide number 2. We're then going to start looking at an extension drawn from scratch, the completed plans and elevations, building regulation notes, 3D modeling, and a quick look at the 3D photo visualizer as well. All right, that's what we're going to be looking at today. And the key benefits of PlansXpress: 3D images to help win work. So convincing your client, convenience of amending existing plans with a traceover, a design and build service thanks to user-friendly software. So you can then start using this to then go into Estimator Express and estimates. And then if you like what you see today, there's a 10% discount on PlansXpress outright purchase if you buy within 7 days of this event. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that. That should all be done and dusted. Brilliant. I hope that was informative to you as it was for me. And let's get on with the software side of things. So PlansXpress, what can you use PlansXpress for? So you can use it in link with Estimator Express, so you can upload a set of plans. You can then trace those set of plans, import that into the estimating software, and it will give you a cost of the build. Okay, if you don't want to do that, then you can use the software and how I'm going to be using it tonight from scratch, so you can do your own planning application, building regulation drawings. Okay, so a bit of a Blue Peter moment. This is something that I've done earlier on. So what you'll find here are existing plans. So you can see a small extension on the back of a house. So as you can see the elevations as well, how the windows and doors are going to be opening. You can then see your ley lines as well. And you can see that these are existing floor plans with dimensions. What you can then do is you can build upon this as well for proposed. So you can then start bringing in building regulation notes. You can see that we've gone from a single extension to a full wide back extension with a kitchen renovation as well and a downstairs toilet. So you can now see that that's now a lean-to with a couple of velluxes in there. We can see that we're actually describing where the new water closet and the waste is going to be going into the soil. And then we've even got a nice little family down at the bottom left-hand corner here just to say, right, okay, then that's how tall your family are going to be in comparison to the house. Okay, I'm not going to go into this much detail with a demonstration because a plan like this will take a couple of hours to do, even when you are fast, because you want to make sure that all the dimensions are correct. You want to make sure that everything is lined up with what you want to do, but it is a plan of a house at the end of the day. Okay, so where would you start when it comes to PlansXpress? Well, when you first turn on the software, you get greeted with this page. You've got A1 1 to 100 on the plain page, A1 1 to 100 with title and notes block. And then what you can do is you can see that all the way down through to A3, A4, and then we've got electrical templates and plumbing templates in there as well. Now, what does this mean? Plain page, if you're going to be importing a plan, you could select plain page. All this information on the right-hand side would disappear, and then you'd be able to upload a set of plans, put that into the software, and give it a cost. Okay, if you want to give it from here, again, you can select the page that you want. So I can go A3 1 to 50, say, on with title and notes block. That's what I want. Click OK. And then this is what my page is going to look like. Now, in the right-hand corner here, you can now see that we've got company logo using an image button, company name, project description, details of the client, and then how it's going to be measured. All right. Now, how would you import an image? You can just go up to the top left-hand corner where it says drawing and annotation, and you can just click this little image button. Okay. If you're importing a set of plans, okay, many of you that have maybe used the software before or not used the software before, you would probably go top left-hand corner and then you would go import and find a plan. That's not how it actually works with our software. What you would do is you would actually go across the top to the scan and trace tab and go import drawing and then bring in a plan that way as well. If I just do it as a quick example, you'd be able to select, say, a PDF. You'd be able to then find your PDF, Okay, it will give you a visual representation of what you're going to be importing. Obviously, you don't want to bring in the 3D visuals, so you can flip pages just in case you do have a PDF that's, say, 30, 40 pages long. You can then bring in the relevant plan, import quality. More often than not, your laptop, your computer is going to be able to get away with best. That import quality function has been there for so long now. I can't remember when it was actually imported into the software. But yeah, import quality, when it's at its best, it's a much sharper image. Okay, you'd be able to click finish. Everything goes blue, it seems, and then you can import your plan. You'll be able to see how big it is. Okay, and to make sure that it is to scale, you can then just go scan and trace, measure image scale, and then say between these 2 points is going to be 3000. Let's just wake up my keyboard, click OK. Looks like it's disappeared. However, now the right size for what I want to be doing. And then I'll be able to do my takeoff. But as we know, that's not what we want to do. I can remove this if I want to. I can delete everything. It can be a blank page if I wish. And if I'd accidentally done that as well, okay, what I can do is I can always just go up to the top left-hand corner. I can just create a new page from a template, and I'd be right back here. Click OK. And we're right back to where we began. Okay, so a nice quick process of how you can actually jump from one to the other quite quickly as well if you wish. All right. Now, looking at the tabs across the top of the screen, firstly, we have architectural. This is what you're going to be able to draw with and what you're going to be estimating with if you want to import this from PlansXpress into Estimator Express. So we have external walls, internal walls, feature masonry, doors, windows, openings and stillwork. This is not a package that's going to work out the stills that you are going to need to use on site. Okay, so just be aware you are still going to have to try and read structural engineer's handwriting. The software is not going to be able to do that for you. Okay, stairs, flooring, roofing, it's extended roofing as well, attics, drainage, external works and landscaping, electrical plumbing, plastering, decorating, renovation, chimneys, and fire stops. Okay. Next to that, we then have drawing and annotation. So this is when you're going to be able to start using lines, arcs, circles, polygons, okay, making sure that you can just do those obscure shapes, creating boundary lines as well if you want those to be visual on your plans. We can then, again, we've got our image, we've got hatching as well. So on our elevations, if we want to start adding in a little bit of hatching, we can then just start selecting different types of, oh, it's because I don't have an elevation. That's my fault. Okay, but what we can then do is we can then start looking at hatching later on, so you can then start adding those individual details, minute details. You've then got horizontal, vertical, and angular lines. Construction lines are what you're going to be able to use during your drawing, and it's something called a snapping tool, similar to AutoCAD, and you're going to be seeing me use this today. Text, if we want to add text into our drawing, specification notes, once we've started drawing, it's going to start bringing in building regulation notes and so on. The luxury of that specification notes function is that the moment you've imported it into Estimator Express, you're drawing anyway, and you've actually tweaked all of the materials to be relevant to the job that you're doing. You can actually send those specification notes back to the software, and then you can copy and paste them onto your plan. Okay, just in case that's something you wanted to do. Linear dimension, that's going to tell you and give you the distance between 2 points. Chain dimension, just like linear dimension, but this time you could just start clicking anywhere, and it's going to give you dimensions on the page as well. All right. Non-estimated symbols. We've now got front, back doors, internal doors, patio, and French doors if you want to add these onto your elevations. Electric, furniture. Furniture, we used to have a function, well, no, we still have that function really, where you can then start placing down in a bird's eye view type format of sofas, chairs, tables, beds, and so on. Okay, even a nice fax machine. I don't know why that's still in there, but why not? Let's keep it in there for humor purposes. So you can use that if you wish. If not, absolutely fine. We've now got 3D architectural symbols. What you can now do is you can bring in and design with balconies, basic 3D objects, baths, beds, boxing in, chimneys, column beams, conservatories, and the list goes on. I'm not going to go through every one of them. Okay, but you can then start doing that. The luxury is as well, once you have done that, you can then start playing around with it. And again, this is what I made earlier type motion. You'll be able to then start seeing the likes of something that's built up a little bit more fluid with a TV on the wall, a sofa, some chairs. You can play with the lighting in the 3D photo visualizer. I'll show you that in a wee while. Building up a kitchen, extractor fan, and so on. So you can do that as well if you wish. All right. From here, we've then got sections. So we built sections up for you just to help you save a little bit of time. Okay, so we've got brick and block walls. And if I click this drop down box, we can then start seeing external cavity block walls with 75mm cavity and 100mm block. And then we can start looking at the breakdowns we have there with 600 footings and so on and so forth. Okay, so we can start seeing the ones that we have in there for you. You can use this. You can then tweak these if you want to, or you can draw your own. It's entirely up to you. Okay, modifying selection. You can then start setting things as estimated and non-estimated. This is actually quite handy if you want to draw, say, if you have got a set of plans, you can draw over their house, okay, and then their extension as well. You can set the extension part as estimated and the house as non-estimated. That way then they can at least see what the house is going to look like, or the extension is going to look like on the back of the house, but at least the only thing that's going to be estimated is the extension going into Estimator Express. Okay, views in 3D, you then have your 3D previews, your textures, your 3D photo visualizer, your levels to build multiple levels. Okay, we can then draw elevations as well. We've then got toggle drawing modes, and you'll see how that looks in a little while. Scan and trace, we've seen that already. And then your settings, if you're left-handed, you can then switch mouse buttons if you wish, if you want the mouse to be on the other side of the keyboard. Okay, plus other skins as well, like a dark mode, grey mode, and all sorts as well if you wish. It's entirely up to you. Now that we've seen all the tabs across the top of the screen, I'm going to give you a moment. If anybody has any questions, to just type them in on the right-hand side, and then we can go from there. Okay, I'll give you a few moments. And it looks like nobody's got any questions. Brilliant. I'm doing my job well. So from here, how would you start? So you can start. Oh, spoke too soon. Look at that. I do have a question just popped in there. So will you show us how to compile all the actual drawings to scale, which match the A3 1 to 100? Right. Yes, I absolutely will. Okay, so you're going to be able to see that from what I do in a moment. Okay, so as we can see here, we've got page A3, 1000mm, so that's our meter there. If you want to make sure that this is correct, you can always go up to drawing and annotation. As I said, go to that linear dimension, and then you can click between these 2 points. So let's go number 1 to number 2. And we can see that we've actually absolutely got 1000mm there, which is perfect for me. All right. So what will I do now? And where will I start when it comes to my drawing? You can do it freehand if you wish. It's absolutely fine. So if I just go to architecture, I'm just going to click the image at the moment. I'm just going to skip a couple of steps. Okay. I'll come back to it in a second, but then we can go from there. And what you can do is you can then just start drawing freehand. Okay, so a little bit about what's happening on screen at the moment. That red line is the line that you're going to be following. Okay, so if you're going to be working with dimensions, if you like to work with internal dimensions, you want that red line to be on the opposite side of where that arrow is pointing, because that arrow is pointing the facing side. Okay, so that's your facing wall. All right, so if I wanted to go with external dimensions, I'm going to be in the right place. If I want to go internal dimensions, sorry, what I can then do is I can actually swap these around, or I can even send that arrow pointing a different way. And by doing that, in the top left-hand corner, you're going to see something called Justification and your external side. Justification, if I click that drop-down box, we've got center and right. Center just sticks me right in the middle. I don't know why you would use that, just to get, probably if you're going to be going down the center of somebody's maybe a joined house, it's probably the only time that you would really do that, or if you want to separate a room precisely, or then you can go right. And as you can see, I'm just clicking once either time, and you can do that. Okay, you can also flip your external side to the right side as well. So I'm going to be on the wrong side that way, or the right side where I'm going to be there. Whilst I'm in this position, I could then use my arrow keys on my keyboard and just send this wall exactly where I want it to go. So if I want it to go from left to right, 3 meters, I can just press the right arrow key. This box is going to come up and it's going to say distance. What I can then do is I can then go 3,000 for 3 meters, click OK. Perfect. I've got my 3 meter wall now. All right. What I can also do as well is I can hold the shift button if I wanted to draw this freehand. And what that's going to do is going to keep that wall nice and straight for me, even if I go off the edge. Okay, so it's another way that we can do that as well. I can even bring in the dimensions if I want to by coming down here. All right, we've got X and Y coordinates, so I can then start going, how far do I want to go along? However, if you are going to be doing it freehand, I don't really think you need that. You can just turn that off and you can just keep everything nice and simple in that regard. Or what you can do is you can use the construction lines and you can build out your template straight away. Okay, so to do that, what we would then do is we'd go to drawing and annotation. We'd go to our vertical or horizontal lines, depending on where you want to start. You can go front to back, left to right, really depends on what you want to do. And if I go vertical, I can then go left to right and I can put my house in place. So I can just place this once, doesn't matter where, because I can drag it all together at once to any part of the plan. And if I wanted to go from left to right, said my house is, let's go 8 meters in width. What I can do is I can actually hover my mouse over that line. As you can see, it's snapping to it before I even get there. I can press R on my keyboard for relative. And now I've got that number going up. Okay, so if I wanted to make this 8 meters wide, I can go 8 meters to there. Now that's what I could do if I wanted to, or again, I can use my arrow keys. I can just click right, type in 8,000, click OK. Bob's your uncle. I've got that space. If I wanted to do that with my horizontal lines as well, I can come down to the bottom, R, up, 8,000, and we've got a lovely box. The best box you'll see all day online. I'm just going to click this down there. As I said, you can move it all at once. Benefit is as well, if I wanted to build, say, a lean-to extension on the back of this, I can then go right. Okay, let's go to drawing and annotation, vertical, and then I can come in a little bit if I wish. So I can then go right. Okay, then I'm just going to come in 100 mil either side. From there, click OK, and I want to have my extension be, I'm not going to give myself a lot of space here. Let's just say 3 meters as well. So we can then go 3 meters out. So now we have that distance as well. So what we can now do is we can now start building up this house, our extension, and so on. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the construction line aspect before I start going into actually doing the drawing? We do have a question. Perfect. It wasn't a question. It was a response. Thank you ever so much. I do appreciate it. Because I can't hear you, it's sometimes just not having any response is a bit of a nightmare, really. But yeah, I'll give it a few more minutes just in case. Well, not a few more minutes, a few more moments, just in case anybody does have any questions. All right, and then we can go from there. How do you move the whole box down? So what you'll see is when you draw something, I'm just going to go back to this wall a second. So if I do that, if I highlight that wall, you're going to get 2 different colors of box. You're going to get a blue box and you're going to get a red box. Okay, a blue box will allow you to stretch it, move it, twist it, depending on what you want to do. Okay, bop it, it's entirely up to you. Red allows you to move the entire thing. Red comes in handy if you want to move multiple items such as this. So as you can see, if I wanted to move all of this as a whole to outside the page, I could highlight everything, click a red box, and move it over here. If I want to move it back, I can do that as well. So just remember, blue expands and subtracts. Red, you can move as a whole. Okay. Going into the drawing, what we can then do is we can go to our architectural tab. And I honestly, like you probably would as well, if you're going to draw anything, you would go from the outside in. Okay, just makes your life a whole lot easier. So we can start looking at our external walls, click the drop down box. Now we've got brick and block cavity wall, brick and ICF, brick and SIPs, external cavity block wall, rendered ICF, rendered SIPstone. We've got a huge catalog in there for you. Okay, we can then go brick and block cavity wall. We have additional floors, ground floors. Difference between the two is that ground floors will calculate for foundations and footings, where additional floor won't, just in case you are, say, building on top of a garage for a second floor, or even on an extension for a second floor. We've then got some generic heights in there for you. These are just so you can just click and run. Okay, so we've got ground floor 2.4, which is your typical height. And then you've got two options on the right-hand side for single story and multi-story. Difference between these two is that single story will be 2.4 to the ceiling height, and then it will start thinking about a roof, whereas multi-story will be 2.4 to the ceiling height, but then it's also going to take into consideration a suspended floor. So it's going to add on an additional 225 mil. So you can then start adding on that second floor, building up and going on. Okay, so you can do that as well. That's what I'm going to select for my internal walls. We then have 2.625 for the height of the wall from the top of DPC. Clicking next, we can then go into the foundation details. So we've got foundation width, foundation depth. We've then got two options for the foundation details. Plan construct the excavation. Are you going to be using timber? This is quite handy as well, even if you think, no, I'm not really supporting this. If you're doing a build over, select yes. It just adds in that timber, and that adds in that extra time for you to be inside those foundations. Okay. Bulking of the excavated material, we've got that at 1.5. So for every cubic meter of soil or clay coming out of the ground, we're calculating 1.5 cubic meters of space is going to be used up in your skips. Now you can change this to 2, 3, 5, whatever you want to do. Okay, it's entirely up to you. You call the shots. All right. Now you're seeing here that we've got two options of concreting there. You might be thinking, why? Okay. So if you go down to the bottom, you've got show tech tips and show tech labels. We're not teaching you how to suck eggs. You know the building game, you know the industry. Okay. However, if we didn't have multiple items like this, you would find that the software has 300, 400, 500 extra calculators, and it'll just be overkill because you're thinking, oh Christ, now I've got to find pile, foundation, 7 lines down the list, and it's just going to be a nightmare for you. By doing it this way, we can then combine different jobs, and we can just zero out one, and we can put the information in for the other. I think my keyboard is running out of battery, so apologies about this, guys. You're going to hear a lot of bashing. Okay, so we've got that one in there. It then goes into the footing details. So we have the splash course depth, brickwork depth below the splash course, height of the blockwork to the outer leaf below DPC. Now, the splash course, we are looking at 2 courses of engineer's bricks. So you can see that we've got that maths in there as well. If you needed to double that to say 3, just do the maths over here. Okay, so if you look at 0.075, that's your height of a brick. Okay, so what you can then do is you can go, right, okay, then what have I got to do? I've got to add an extra course onto here, so I can then start popping that in as 0.225 or whatever you would like to do. Okay, so you can do that as well. And now we've got our extra course, so you can see this math, and it even does that maths for you over on the right hand side there. I don't know why I was trying to work that maths out myself. Okay, so you can change all of this up. It's not a problem at all. Is the main wall to be insulated? Yes or no? Is there a separate DPC? Yes or no? This is important because it will be put into your building regulation notes later on. Okay, plastering and decorating. Are we plastering? Are we decorating? You can even leave this as yes if you want, because in the estimating software, there is a button that you can just turn it all off if you want to. It just saves you having to go through 4 lines. Every little helps when it comes to time. Click finish. Where can we go? Is my justification correct? So I can just zoom in, and I'm zooming in with my middle mouse wheel. What you'll also find as well is if I want to move around the page, I can just hold my middle mouse wheel down. It turns into a little hand, and I can just drag myself around the page. Okay, but I want to go from this corner, so it's snapped into that corner for me, and it's on the right side, so I can just come all the way up, and I can go right back there, and now I've got my base floor. And if I wanted to, I can see how pretty this box is going to be by just going to Views in 3D, 3D Preview, and it's going to show me a sensational square prison. All right, so we have that going on for right now. We haven't got any windows, doors in there. We'll add those in. We can even add in a couple of radiators if we wish. It's entirely up to us. Okay, but we have that in there at this moment in time. Now, you can do one of 2 things. You can now build your second floor in now, or you can add your windows in if you want to have them in the same place, top and bottom. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so if I were to say I want to add in a door right in the middle of this, it's going to look, by the way, this house is going to look dreadful. All right, I don't want anything for designing merits on this one. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go up to the architectural tab. I'm just going to skip internal walls at the moment, go straight for the windows. Okay, from the windows, we then have Crystal Direct windows, so you can then start playing around with color as well, which is actually quite handy, and different shapes. It's quite nice because if you know that you've got a different supplier, what you can do is you can just select the windows, so you've got that white UPVC look, depending on whether you want to go with that, or if you've got aluminium windows and they're going to be, say, slate, you can still just use it for the color aspect, and you can put in your own costs when you're in the estimating software. Okay, so you can do that. So I'm just going to select this here. And now what I can do is I can then go through the range, depending on what I want to have a look at. My style, we've got different styles in here. We've got widths and heights. We've got U values, so I'm just going to go for 1.1. We've then got a width. I'm just going to go front of the house. We've got 2 1800 windows, and I'm going to make them over 1 meter high. So we've got, say, 1050 high. Okay, so we've then got that there. We've got a white UPVC window, along with our white picket fence. Why not? And then we can also go and we can select whichever one we want. I can go for that anthracite. Brilliant. There's my window. Select the window. The luxury of the software, it will calculate your lintel as well. And the look, and that's it, I'm saying luxury a lot. The benefit of that is that the software is actually going to calculate the lintel with 150mm end bearing for you automatically. So as you can see, out of the list, it's highlighted the one down at the bottom. I've got an 1800 window, but the cavity still, catnic lintel, is going to be 2.1 meters long. Okay, and it's going to give you a cost of that over on the right-hand side as well. And then we've got our cavity closes. Okay, once we've got that, we've then got installation details. Are we happy with the fixing details when it comes to our screws as well? Plastering and seal details, decoration options. Okay, once I've done that, I can then start placing these wherever I wish. So I can then start saying, okay, we've got 1550 or 348 from one side. I can also go 500 from one side if I wished. I can go 500 from the other side. It's entirely up to me what I want to do. Now, again, you can, if you want, go to your drawing and annotation, go to your verticals, come on the inside, say I want 500mm from the internal walls, both sides, back to the architectural, and instead of going through all that information again, you can just click the icon, and it takes me straight back to that window that I've selected. So I don't even have to worry about doing it again, just in case I've missed a step. All right. So as you can see, it did that on purpose. So I can now go left. I'm going to go straight down to this line here. I'm going to overlap that line there when it wants me to. There we go. Pop that one in. We've got one in there. And now I can go to the right-hand side by just swapping out that justification, and I can zoom all the way in. And we've now got that, which is lovely. So we've got those there. If I've made a mistake again, I can just click undo. I can always go back up to the top, and I'm going to have this door at the back, this window at the back as well. I'm going to do that for my kitchen. I can add in a bifold door as well if I wished. Well, that really doesn't want to play ball, does it? Okay, well, I'm just going to leave it there for the now. For the time being, I'm not going to argue too much with that. Once we've done that one there, we can then add in bifold doors, same process. External doors, we've then got Crystal Direct, aluminium, PVCU. Or I can go with an aluminium bifold door. Let's go there. Let's go 2 meters in width, or say 3 meters, why not? 3 meters in width, we've got 3 doors. We can even go for a U value again, a color, different opening types. So 3 to the right, 1 left, 2 right, 2 left, 1 right, 3 to the left, or 3 to the right, depending on how you want to go. Lintels, cavity closers, same processes, decoration, and then we can pop this one over here. So we've now got that as well. And that front door, I'm going to add it in just because we're here doing it. And if I want it exactly in the middle of that wall, I can just go for a front door, or I can go for a composite door, make it like some, I'm going to go for a red front door. Why not? Let's make it pop. U values, door width, it's going to make it nice and wide, including frame. Select this one here, lintel, cavity closers, decoration specification. We're keeping it all the same as I said. And if I want that exactly in the middle, I can just press M for middle on my keyboard. And what's going to happen is if I just pull this to the left a little bit, it goes in the middle for me and I don't have to worry about anything else. And then I can say which way it's going to swing. Perfect. Fusion 3D, 3D preview. We've now got an even fancier prison. Okay, so we've got that as well, even with that back door as well. Okay, so once we've done that, we can then say, I want to make a second floor now, straight away. To do that, I'm going to go architectural. No, I'm not. I'm going to go to Fusion 3D and I'm going to go to levels. From there, I can have my base height as 0 because we're going to start from 0 going up. Wall height 2550. This is when you have to remember the height of your wall. So I selected a single story, a multi-story wall at 2.4 meters. So I'm working off of 2625. Okay, so I've got that there. Click OK. Software down in the bottom left-hand corner gives you a command window. It's going to tell you what to do next. So give a reference point. I'm going to give this front corner there. And then it's going to ask me to give the first point of the box to define a level. So I'm just going to go here. And I'm going to put my box all the way up. Once I've done that, I've got my level. And to make a second level, I just click the pink line, click with my middle mouse wheel and go copy selection. Nice and simple. Do that there. Go back to that reference point, and I can pop this wherever I like. Probably won't pop it. I'm just going to pop it up here for the time being. Okay, now I've got a base height of 2625, another wall height of 2625, or I can just go a wall height of 2.4, and I can do whatever I wish on that one. Okay, we've then got external walls. Yes, we're going to import the external walls. Do we want to bring in the doors? No, we don't. Do we want to keep the windows? Yes, we do. We can keep the windows there. Click OK. And now we've got those windows up here and a bunch of extra lines. We can delete these. We don't need these ones over here because that's our elevation. And then if I want to go back to the view in 3D, I can click Fusion 3D, 3D preview, and now we have our second floor. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. From here, we can then start looking at adding on a roof if we wish, just to fix this last little level. We can go to the roofing structure. We can go for a cut roof, a truss roof. If it's the world's ugliest house, you can even go for a flat roof as well. So I'm going to go for a cut roof. We can go for a typical 30-degree pitch, or 35-40, depending on how you want to go about it. And then you would actually go through building up the roof. So roof pitch, soffit width of the gables, the timber and the roof strap details, the roof structural information as well. So joist centers, rafter centers, length of each hip corner tie. You can even go into the guttering details if you wish. tiling and insulation, roof finishes, and then you can select the shape of the roof that you want to go with. If I wanted to go with, say, a hipped roof, a nice little triangle on the top, I can do that. Or I can go with a typical Apex roof. And all you have to remember when it comes to your roofs are width, then length. Okay, so all I have to do is just go, right, okay, then I'm going to go width down the front, length down the end. Sticking my roof on for me. I can then go into flat ceiling, vaulted ceilings, purlins, and binders at the stage. I'm going to say no for the time being. The one benefit is that the software is going to fill in that gable for you. So if you are doing this from a takeoff perspective, or if you want to calculate what that gable is going to be, the software is going to fill it all in for you, so you don't have to worry about it too much. And then you can fill in that wall at the back. Now we have our house. We can then start doing our extension. You could set everything up to this point as non-estimated, and to do that, you can just, which is going to be quite fun now, I can highlight everything. Okay, so zoom all the way out, highlight everything, right click. No, you don't right click, terribly sorry, you middle mouse click, that's my mistake. So I'm going to highlight everything, click with the middle mouse wheel, and then you've got set as non-estimated. The moment you do this, you're going to see these red lines are going to disappear. So now these are all clear. Okay. That middle mouse wheel now. We can go back to the external walls. We've got brick and block cavity wall. Ground floor 2.4 for a single story this time, because we're just going to do it like a typical lean-to. We've got 2.4 from the top of DPC. We can then change the foundations if we wish, again from, say, 0. Yeah, there we go. We've got 0 or 00 for this exact demonstration. Oh, wow. Terribly sorry about this, guys. I think you really are running out of battery, aren't you? This is annoying for me and you. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we've got 0.8 in there as well. Putting details, plastering decoration, and then we can start going from that internal line this time as well. And you can see what's being estimated versus what's not being estimated, because we've got those lines of information. And you can now take out those lines as well. You can pop in, say, a flat roof or a lean-to, depending on what you want to do. And again, if you know the roof is going to be built the exact same way as the roof of the actual house, you can just click the image and it takes you right back here because you've already filled in all that information. So you can go lean-to, perfect, click OK. And again, you've got width by length. And you've now got that lean-to on there as well, which is going to make your life a whole lot easier. Back to the views in 3D preview. And now we've got that lean-to, which has got a way too high a pitch because it's going right through the middle of my window. But now you can see that extension on the back of the house. And I'm going to change that roof straight away. So I'm just going to go views in 3D. Roof lines, delete that one. Go back to views in 3D. Go back to all the items. And then I can go back to the roofing. I'm going to stick a flat roof on it. Typical flat roof, except the defaults. And then we can go from there. Okay, I do have a question, and I'm going to come straight to you now. Okay, so we have that flat roof. Do I want to consider a flat ceiling? No, I'm not going to worry about that too much at this moment in time. So we've now got that flat roof. And again, that view in 3D is now looking like that before we add in any roof lights. So the question, what's the difference between the two concrete parts? Is the first one always wrong? No, so the first one's not always wrong when you're looking at concrete. So you've got structural concrete and you've got mass concrete. Okay, it really depends on how you want to go about your work and how you want it to be calculated within Estimator Express. Okay. And sorry to backtrack quickly, but could you just show how you copy and pasted the ground floor and then use it as a first floor again? Yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem at all. So to do that, what you would do is if I delete this one up here. So once you've drawn your elevation, okay, and you put your level around, this pink line will appear. So you've got the pink lines around the walls. Those that indicate your foundation widths, okay? And then you've got this pink line to indicate the house. All you would do is you would just middle mouse click. And then what's going to happen is you're going to be given copy selection. Okay? If you're not too confident on that, you can just click that so it's highlighted. You can then go up to modifying selection and copy. You give the reference point, which is going to be that reference point that you selected. So you can do that there. And now we can move this all across. However, what's going to happen now is that it's going to give us a base height, which is the starting at the top of that wall, so 2625. Then we have a wall height. I'm going to go 2.4. Do I want to take out the doors and the windows? I definitely want to take out the door. Click OK. Only problem we're going to have now is we have my extension in there as well because we've copied the extension. But you can just remove all that by just highlighting, deleting, clicking this red line there, remove that, click refresh. Nice and simple. And then we can go back to that roofing option, cut roof, 30-degree pitch. I'm going to click accept defaults this time, pop that apex roof back on, and then go width by length. Okay, so we've got that roof back as well. So again, we're looking at that flat roof. Okay, so now that we have that there, we can start looking at selecting this and start putting in our internal walls as well. And we would go about doing that with what I would recommend drawing an annotation. So we can then start putting in your construction lines and start setting out rooms as well. So if you had an original room that was that back wall, you come back, say 4 meters. That's half the house. That's a terrible idea. Let's go 3 meters instead. So we've got that there. What I can then do is I can then put in an internal wall. I can call it an internal cavity block wall, an actual single skin solid wall, timber frame if they're not going to be weight bearing. And then I can start selecting my walls as well. Okay, so I can go through all the details, height, foundations, footing, plastering. And then I can just build in that wall as well. And now I have that internal wall for myself. And again, I can go to views in 3D and I can see all this building up as well if I wanted to in more of a easy following area. Now, the reason why you would do this is because then what you can do is you can set up the shape of the house, and then you can start creating multiple pages. And what I mean by that, is hopefully quite self-explanatory really, is that once we've got the shape and the roof, we can then look over on the right-hand side, and we've got something called the Layout Explorer. So we've got our drawing, and then I can click Add New Layout, create layout using complete drawing. Yes, I will. And I'm going to call this layout Electrics. I'm then going to go back to the drawing, go to another one, and I'm going to call this one Plumbing. You guessed it. So we now have plumbing and electrics. On the plumbing one, what I can then do is I can then just go straight into my architectural, start using my plumbing items. I can go with a couple of rads. And as you can see, we've got quite the catalog. And then from here, I can place my rads on the wall, depending on what we want to do. Let's say one in the kitchen. Why not? Okay, so we've got our 3 rads and one in the extension for good luck because of heating properties. So we've got our 4 rads now. I can then do my plumbing runs as well if I wish, so my hot and cold water pipes, if you really want to go into that much detail. But the luxury is that the moment you click on electrics or drawing, They disappear. So that way then, you know, when you get these plans and they're absolutely inundated with information, it's because architects are just too lazy to be able to put that on separate pages, if I'm honest, and that's from a personal view. You probably agree with me as well. That way then what you can do is when you actually print these plans off, you've got your original drawing, which will have the actual shape of everything that you've got going on. You can even have all of your plans on there as well. You can start pulling them in and start combining them together. But then you can then start looking at the electrics, and the electrics tab does go on for quite a while. As you can see, we've got quite the catalog in there as well. So if I wanted to just go absolutely crazy with double sockets with USBs, we can then start popping these everywhere and having the time of our life with these as well, depending on what we wanted to do. Come back to plumbing. We've then got our plumbing. Go back to the original drawing. We don't have to worry about electrics too much. And as it's all headed, we can then drop in different notes on the different pages, creating a more, well, a less complex but more comprehensive plan for your guys to use, or for the planning application and building regulation information. I do have a question. So let's remove the concrete. How do you get up the layout tab? So firstly, how do you get up the layout tab? If you do not have this on the right hand side, maybe yours looks something like this, where there's absolutely nothing on the right hand side. Okay. To change that, you can then go to, here we go, settings. There we have it. And then you just click reset layout. Okay, by clicking this, you're then going to have notes picker on the right hand side. You're going to have your layout explorer as well, and then you can go to properties explorer if you wish. Okay, the one thing that you will find about this as well is that if you go back to views in 3D and 3D preview, it's going to create it nice and small on the right hand side. Okay, it's absolutely fine. Just go to where it says 3D view with your left mouse button, just hold that down, drag it into the middle. Okay, and you can make it nice and big, just like you would a folder on your desktop. Okay, so you can go, I'm going to go this way, that way, forward and backwards. You can zoom in. I know mine looks see-through at the moment, but you can change the imagery as well to what you wish. Okay, I did have a second question as well. How do you combine them? So we've got layout contents, we've got copy layouts, update layout contents as well. Honestly, I can't remember because I've never gone into that. However, the technical team will be able to answer that question for you. Terribly sorry, I can't. All right, but I do know that you can do it. Okay. Last few things on the software. Okay, because to be honest with you, I've shown you pretty much everything other than 3D imagery as well, like your 3D items that you can add in there. So if you did want to add in an item, you can go to drawing and non-estimated symbols, go to your 3D architectural items. Let's go for a sofa. So let's go for sofas down here. Add in a sofa. We can even change the color. We can make this quite radical if we wanted to. So I'm going to make this a violent green. Why not? Oh, this is going to look awful. Whoo, look at that. There you go. So once we've got that there, we can then place this however we want it to look. So color, and then we can place that in our room as well. So I'm going to place that there. I'm actually going to place a bifold door on the back of this house as well second. And the reason I'm going to do that is because you can see straight through the window as well onto what you want to actually look at. So I can do that, accept all the defaults, stick this one here for the time being. Oh, what have I done? Why would I do that? Let's move that to a midpoint. Terribly sorry. So we've got that there. Views in 3D, 3D preview. Let's pull this over here. Now what we can do is we can now see that dreadfully awful sofa through the window as well. You can do that with all the bedrooms as well if you wish. Okay, so you can really build this up for your client as well. So can you take a picture of a property and then import it and draw an extension onto it? Absolutely. Okay, so Sean, I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to show you how it's done, and I'm going to import something I'm just going to import an image if you want to draw something onto it. Okay, so you can do that as well, and that will be done with the 3D photo visualizer, which I'm going to go on to just after this. So firstly, I want to show you how to draw your elevations. To do that, we would go into Fusion 3D and draw elevations. Luxury is it's not a lot of hard work. So this command window in the bottom left-hand corner will tell you what to do. So give the wall on which the elevation will be based. So I'm going to go the front of the house. Give the observation point. I'm going to stand quite far back. Give depth of the view. I'm going to go that far. I don't really have to because of the roof. Give the left extent point. So how far left do I want to say it? Well, enough to be able to cover the left-hand side of the house. And then how far right. So I'm going to do that. And I don't actually take my I don't hold the mouse down, not the mouse button down anyway. I just click and follow the instructions. Then it says give a reference point. To be honest with you, once you have one reference point, I just use that all the time. We can click that one there, come down here, and create elevation for all levels. Yes, we will. Click yes, and we've got the front of the house. Sensational. From there, we can do the exact same. If I wanted to go right back to that command without having to click up at the top where it says Fusion 3D, elevations, just right click. Takes you right back to your last command. So as you can see, command window, give wall on which the elevation is based. So this time I'm going to go this wall here, this far back, this far in. But this time I'm going to go a little bit further in than I did that way because I want to incorporate the ridge of the house. How far left, how far right. And then before you know it, reference point, I'm going to go for this corner this time. And the reason I've done that is because it's on that side of the house. And then I can place it in there as well. And now I've got that elevation, but you can see that there's a little bit of overlap here as well, and I can't get rid of it. So if you do want to ever change this and tweak this to how you want it to look, because sometimes the software does this, okay, all you have to do is just click to everything and these little walking ants turn up. Just click that little explosive item there. It's going to ask you, do you really want to do this? Yes, I do. And then all the lines are then individual to what you want to have a look at. And what you can then do is you can go, right, okay, this line here, I'm going to pull that one down to there. I'm going to take this one and place it in here. And then I'm going to take those and place them a little bit further back. And that looks just that little bit nicer now. Okay, so you can do that as well. You can really mix and match this and you can build it all up. You can add in text by just going side elevation, clicking OK, and placing that wherever you like. The problem is that my height is currently at 3.5. That's going to change. So I'm just going to go for 24 there. Wow, even 24 is tiny. Okay, let's go for... That's a lot more like it. So we've got 224 is the height of my writing. And then the luxury is the moment you've typed that in once, you can go back to drawing an annotation, you can type in anything again, and the height's going to be there for you automatically, and you can go run to elevation. Click OK. Keep that there. Nice and simple. Adding in building regulation notes. You go drawing an annotation, specification notes. And now you've got all the different types of notes for you. You can handwrite them here if you wish, or what you can do is you can go, right, okay, general notes, or brick and block cavity wall notes. Let's just drag that one up here a second. Brick and block cavity wall. Pop that in here. We can change the writing ourselves, or if we've imported it back and forth from Estimator Express, all the writing is going to be there anyway. We can click OK. And then we can just place that wherever we like. Problem is, that's currently typical. Look at that. That's done that on purpose, hasn't it? So I'm just going to pop that there. I know it's overlapping right now, but I can move that to wherever I see fit. And now we have our building regulation notes as well. The fact that I've done this on an A3 page, 1 to 50, is a terrible example. Okay, with this much information, you're probably going to be wanting to look at A3 1 to 100. Okay, or an A1 1 to 100 with all the information that you want to have on there. Okay, so you can have that as well. I do have another question. Why do the DPCs look different on the bottom elevations? Because I set them as two different DPCs. So I set this one as a third brick, and I set this one as a second, as just 2 bricks. As an example, that's why I changed this first one. That was all. Not a problem at all. So now, the 3D photo visualizer. Up at the top, you've got your views in 3D, and you've got your 3D preview. Okay, next to that, you then have textures where you can start changing the colors of the walls if you wish. So you've got your walls here, you've got the brick. You can change the texture to violent colors if you want to. It's entirely up to you what you really want to do with it. Okay, and then it's going to change the 3D imagery here. However, the 3D photo visualizer, you'll find this in the premium version of our software. Okay, it just takes that to a little bit further. So I can click save. And what we can then do is we can then start loading up the 3D photo visualizer. Okay, so if you bear with me 2 seconds. And what you're going to be able to see, okay, is the 3D photo visualizer. So now what we have there is we've got something that's a lot sharper. So I can drag and move it just like I would the last one. I can even just put this on a, yeah, I can do whatever I want with this, to be fair. But then with this, I can then start changing the colors of my bricks by just dragging and dropping, depending on what I want to do. So we had gray and yellow. I don't know why you ever would do that. This would just be vile to look at. But you can do that as well if you wish. Okay, you can then start dragging in backgrounds as well. So you've got abstract, you've got ground, you've got rural as well. And hearing that in a Bristolian accent probably made you want to giggle. So you can pull that in there, and then we can start placing this as we see fit. So I've got what looks like a toy house in there as well. Okay. The one luxury is that you can also take a photo of the site and then start building or giving it an image in front of that. To do that, where you've got this drop down on the right hand side, you just go to user defined, and then you can just bring in custom image. So if I drag and drop that in here, it's going to ask me what do I want to bring in. So I can click edit there. I can bring in whatever I like. For the humor side of it, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some 3D modeling that I did, some Photoshop work as well. Would you look at that? We've got the Empire coming in and not enjoying my house one little bit. So we can do that as well. So you can then build up a 3D image with the background, with the area that it's in. If you have an extension built up, you can put it on the side of the house, the back of the house. You can make it look more realistic. Okay, what's going to happen as well with the software and what this one does for you, it gives you different rendering modes as well. So we've got this house built up. What I can then do is I can then go for a full render, a preview render, and straight away you're going to be able to see a difference with how it starts building it up. You can import your own brick as well if you've got an image of it. Okay, so you can then start bringing that in as well. So it's going to be able to line up with what you want to look at as well. And the moment you start wanting to look again, you can pull that around, it changes, it moves, and it's nice and quick for you to be able to load up into. You can play with lighting if you wished as well. You can pull in different lighting options. You can even start playing around with where the sun is on the house. So you've got then different shades. I can go sun height, sun rotation. And as you can see, we've now got a shade over here, or we've got a shade over, oh, that's a rotation of the image, shade over there. The one luxury is if I've gone shade in the house, I can then start looking at sun rotation inside the house as well. And we're going to be able to see those lines on the floor as well. We've got sun height, so how far we want it to go up. It's more dusk today than it was the other day. So you can do that as well with the 3D photo visualizer. All right. And that's, everyone, is our planning software and everything that we went through in our original PowerPoint presentation. Does anybody have any questions from here before I let you crack on with the rest of your evenings? Really? So we have a question. Structural openings. Right. If I just jump out of here. Oh, by the way, yes, this is something you can build up with. It was, again, another, this is what I did earlier, but you can then start building up in the 3D photo visualizer things like this. So again, something that I did earlier on. So you've got the lighting, garden, grass, patio, doors, fences, different kind of brickwork items as well. So you can build all of this up. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay. And then you've got different items as well, different gardens, decking, and all sorts as well. All right. So you can do that if you wish. Structural openings. Say I wanted to build a structural opening into this middle wall here. I would go to the architectural tab. I would then go to my openings in Stillwick, and I would go openings into an existing wall, or if it was going to be a knock through that I was going to do, I could then go structural openings to a new wall. We can then go large opening, medium opening, small opening. If I go for medium opening, it's then going to go the width, the height of the structural opening to the underside of the still, the lintel end bearing as well, whether pad stones are required, yes or no. And then are we going to be plastering? Are we going to be decorating? Are you going to be needing angle beads and so on? I click yes. I can then pop that badger in there. Okay. Next, when you are doing your takeoff, or if you have the details of the structural engineer's notes, you can then go openings in Stillwick, steel beams, steel posts. You've also got your glulam beams as well. But your steel beams, any residential beam, domestic beam that you're ever going to come across, trust me, you'll find it in this software. So all you have to do is just go into type. More often than not, it's going to be a UB, so a universal beam. So you just have to go down this list and find universal beam. We then have width and height. This is when my OCD takes over a little bit. I hate this because the height is the number you will always see first. And I don't know why it's second on the list. It drives me nuts. Isn't that even alphabetically, it's in the wrong place. I don't know why they've done it that way. But we can then go 254. 254 is there. Let's go for 533. The width, we've then got 165, 210, 312. If I go for the 210, we've then got its weight bearings as well. So 101 kilos, 109, 122, 138, 82, and 92. So I can go 82 kilos per meter. And that's going to be, on average, 230 pounds a meter for this steel. We can click, select that steel work. We can then go through just how we're going to be dealing with this steel. So is there any additional costs for allowance and fabrication? Fabrication and connections. I'd put this in last if you are going to be building up goalpost steels, because that way then you can then put the fixing costs in there afterwards. It's then going to say about your plastering and decorating options. Are you still happy with that? And then whether or not you're going to be needing craftsmen, laborers, what type of plant are you going to need? So plant 1 are going to be strong boys. Plant 2 are going to be acros. We've then got cranes. We can add in genie lifts later on if we wish. Click finish, and then you can just drop that steel, put it however long you need it, and then you've got your steel work in there as well. And now you've got your steel in there also. So there's your structural opening and the additional steel work as well. So does it put an estimated steel in there? It does. However, I would always go with the structural steel that you have in there. Anyway, I think it averages out of roughly about £100 a meter for the steel. Okay, so whether or not that's going to be accurate to what you want it to be doing is, to be honest with you, with the steel costs nowadays, you'd be undercutting yourself. Honestly, you would. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay, costs if you don't already own this software. So we've got annual subscriptions and we've got, well, we call lifetimes, perpetual licenses as well. So these are the costs you're going to be looking at. HPXL shop, bring in the page, software, PlansXpress. So we've got 3 versions of the software. Version number 1, the takeoff edition. This is purely if you're going to upload a set of plans, do takeoff, send it into the estimating software to get a cost. Okay, probably the number 1 that we do sell more often than not. Okay, number 2, PlansXpress Plus. This allows you to do all your architectural drawings. Okay, and it gives you this 3D preview. Okay, so you have that in the Plus. Premium does the exact same as the Plus, however, it gives you the 3D photo visualizer. Oh, you see a flash of me and the wife there? Not naughty, it's just a loving photo, really, between me and the wife. But then what you can do here is you will find this level of detail in the premium version of the software. Okay, so you'll have that in your premium. Another benefit of the premium is that we will be adding in templates into the premium version of our software, similar to the templates that we have in the Estimator Express, okay? But you'll have them in PlansXpress as well. So if you are going to be doing designs for clients, you're going to have a catalog of different shapes, houses, extensions, and all sorts in there as well, if you want it. Okay, and those are your versions, and these are the costs. Again, so you've got £699 for the perpetual license, or outright. Okay, and then you've got £299 per year for the takeoff edition. Then we go to the plans, the plus, sorry, of 1299 and 499, and then we have premium of 1499, and then we have PlansXpress for 599. Ongoing costs, 12 months time. If you've gone for the premium, you'll be paying £599 again. Okay, there is a caveat on that. If we find that PlansXpress is selling like hotcakes, we have the right to be able to raise this price. Okay, like anything. All right. Benefit of the outright purchase. Ongoing costs are considerably cheaper. Okay, so what you're going to be looking at is by year 3, you're going to be spending a lot more money with this one than you would do on that one. Okay, and yep, your support and updates. So you've got a guarantee that the software will work. That's what we call it outright. Okay, but then yeah, that support and update cost would be £259 to my knowledge a year, or if you go on direct debit, it's even cheaper again, and that just gets you all the new benefits that we had in there, all the new calculators, all the new 3D objects, everything that you would get in there as well. All right. So how much for a premium upgrade to existing plan software? Really depends on whether or not you're just renewing or you are upgrading. An upgrade subscription cost would be £299, I believe. Okay, so if you've already got the software, you bought it 10, 15 years ago, if you wanted to upgrade it to a yearly subscription, then you're looking at £299. One benefit is you're paying half of that, which is lovely. But then it'll be £299 every year. Upgrading to the lifetime license, then you're going to be looking at, I believe it's about £600 if you want to do a lifetime update. Honestly, if you bought the software, say 10 years ago, and you were thinking, do I go outright upgrade? Do I go for subscription upgrade? If it were me, I'd go subscription upgrade, because ongoing, the difference is about £50 a year. All right. And in all honesty, to catch up, you probably have to do it for about 10, 15 years. So it's financially it'll probably be better for you going with the subscription. And I'm a salesperson. I shouldn't probably be telling you that. I should probably want your money. But I mean, saving money, we all got to do it nowadays. And I think, yeah, that is there. However, if you're looking at it from a brand new point of view, and if you've got the capital, I would go outright. Because I know going forward, it's going to be cheaper than this. Would you like more information on the 3D photo visualizer? If you could do a course on that. Well, I don't think we do. Well, I mean, if you've got your support in place, or if you're trialing the software, then give us a call whilst you're on the trial, and we can go through that in a one-to-one, and we can help you kind of play around that in more detail. That's why the technical team are there. They're there for you to be able to, in the nicest way, shape, or form, use and abuse, because that's what you're paying for with your subscription. Okay. Definitely worthwhile giving them a call. Tom knows the stuff. Joe knows the stuff. Okay. Me personally, you can give us a call on the sales line. We're more than happy to help more often than not if we're not giving demonstrations. Okay, like these. All right. So it's yeah, we're always here to help. Okay. Would anybody like a phone call tomorrow with regards to purchasing the software or going into more detail about it? Okay. Yep. I'll give you a call. Perfect. Ooh, quite a few of you. Excellent. Well, okay. Oh, brilliant. Okay, and another. Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from here. All right. I'm going to leave you to enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you ever so much for actually sticking around with me for an hour and a quarter. I know that's a long time for an evening as one. It's a lot of information to take in. Okay. Some of you might have thought I was going a little bit quick, but I did want to just keep up the pace a little bit, because these things can be quite drony and boring, because I've gone to online seminars and Christ, you wanted to slit your throat by the end of it. All right. So if you could, yeah, get in contact, ask any questions, that would be excellent. Okay. Any feedback for us as well on our Facebook pages, on Trustpilots, anything like that, even about the demonstrations tonight as well, or any demonstrations that we do give, webinars as such, all that information just helps us promote ourselves as a business as well, makes us better. Okay. So again, thank you ever so much for your time this evening. Have a lovely night. All right. And for those that have asked me to give you a call back, I shall speak to you tomorrow. You take care. Thank you so much.